When I first entered the seminary, one image really caught my attention. The image of Saint Vincent de Paul. I remember thinking, what does Saint Vincent de Paul have to do with San Carlos Seminary? I mean, it's easy to understand why we have images of Mama Mary, Saint Joseph, San Lorenzo Ruiz, and of course, San Carlos Borromeo. But Saint Vincent de Paul, that one really made me curious. Later on, I found out something surprising. The Vincentian Fathers actually played a huge role in our seminary's history. They were the formators of San Carlos Seminary for a long time, from 1863 to 1899, and then again from 1913 to 1953. So how did it happen? How did that happen? Why were the Vincentians chosen to lead priestly formation here? Let's take a step back in time and see how Fathers Cavana CM and De La Goza CM tell the story of the Vincentians' work in reforming seminary formation, not just in San Carlos, the Seminary of Manila, but all over the Philippines.
On October 19, 1852, when Isabel II of Spain issued a royal order, it said that the Vincentians were to come to the Philippines, and I quote, to improve the education given in the conciliar seminaries which for lack of professors and resources could not duly fulfill the end for which the Holy Council of Trent established them. In short, seminaries back then didn't have enough qualified teachers or resources, but there were also deeper issues behind that. Ever since the Seminary of Manila was founded in 1702, it had struggled with how to be properly run because it was a diocesan seminary. It was supposed to be managed by secular priests, not by friars or religious orders. But here's the problem. Among the secular clergy, who was really trained to run a seminary? That was the issue. There weren't enough priests with the proper formation to form others. This caused a vicious cycle. Poorly formed priests lead to poorly formed seminarians, and so the cycle continued. Then, in the 1760s, things got even worse. Because of a political conflict, religious orders were expelled from many parishes. That left a lot of vacancies. So many native clergy were ordained in haste just to fill the gaps. These priests often lacked solid formation, and this weakened the quality of the secular clergy. This difficult situation went on for about a century until the Vincentian Fathers arrived in 1862.
When the Vincentians arrived in 1862, they immediately began managing the Seminary of Manila, which we now know as San Carlos Seminary. And from the start, they got to work making big reforms. First, when they arrived, the seminary building wasn't just for seminarians. It was also used as a reformatory house for erring priests. The problem was that those priests didn't really set a good example for the seminarians. So, the Vincentians asked the Archbishop to separate the reformatory from the seminary. Second, seminarians used to go to any church in the city for confession whenever they wanted. The problem? The formators had no idea whether the seminarians actually went or what needed to be addressed in their formation. So the Vincentians changed that. They arranged for confessors to visit the seminary every Saturday. So confession became regular and supervised. Third, the seminarians attended classes at the University of Santo Tomas. That meant 2 hours a day wasted just traveling. And being around students who weren't aspiring priests sometimes distracted them from their vocation. So the Vincentians decided to bring theology classes inside the seminary, starting the tradition of seminary-based academics. But they didn't stop there. They reorganized the chapel and the reservation of the Blessed Sacrament to make the Eucharist the center of community life. They checked every seminarian's baptismal certificate and even the marriage certificates of their parents to make sure each one came from a proper Catholic family background. They also started offering spiritual retreats, not only for seminarians but also for priests who wanted to spend time in reflection. And finally, they codified the entire formation process, putting everything into clear written rules for consistency and discipline. Because of these reforms, the seminary's life improved dramatically. The number of seminarians increased, and soon, bishops from other dioceses began requesting the Vincentians to run their own seminaries too. Their commitment to formation and their deep love for the priesthood made a huge difference for the whole church in the Philippines.
The Vincentian Fathers continued administering the seminary until 1899, the start of the Philippine Revolution, and then again from 1913 to 1953, before the CICM Fathers took over. So now, every time we walk past the image of Saint Vincent de Paul here in San Carlos Seminary, let's remember that he's not just there as a saintly decoration. Saint Vincent de Paul is there as a symbol of the Vincentian Fathers' dedication, their patience, their hard work, and their deep love for forming diocesan priests. It was because of their efforts, generations of priests were formed to serve God and His people with faith, discipline, and compassion, not just in Manila, but across the Philippines. And so every glance at Saint Vincent de Paul reminds us of this truth, that our formation today stands on the strong foundation laid by the Vincentians, men who gave their lives to shaping hearts for the service of God and His Church.